Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Resident Roleplay. This is a show where a group of friends and I get together and play homebrewed tabletop RPG set in the world of Resident Evil. I'm your host and GM, and welcome everybody.
So, I
guess we're starting a little earlier today, and probably ending a little bit earlier. Yeah, a great deal earlier. The sun's actually out, which is why I have to have this all covered up, because the exposure would be all out of whack otherwise. But, yeah, so it's 4th of July weekend, so schedules are all sorts of mismatched. And we're also, for that reason, that's the reason we're down Mokaya this weekend. So, although he plans to be in the next episode, but he will not be around. But it kind of works out, because Qatar's not around in the scenario we're starting with here. It's also worth noting before we begin that we do not plan to have an episode of Resident Roleplay next week. So we're going to be taking that week off on hiatus, but then we plan to return the week after, hopefully, if all goes according to plan.
As all things do.
Yeah. So, that being said, are we ready to get back into the campaign? Like I said, this might this might end up being a bit of a shorter episode, depending on how much we get through, so don't mind if that ends up being the case. And it's also possible that, I don't know, I'm thinking we might not go to break in this one if it ends up being very short. But we'll see. We'll feel it out as we go along. But anyway, so, with all that being said, I think we're good to go ahead and get started. So previously, on Resident Roleplay, in the years following the events at Atlantis, where a team sent by the Manifold stole a sample of the T-Abyss virus out of your hands, the party has once again gone its separate ways. You've trained, you've built up your resources, and in the case of Mr. G, gone off the grid to hunt for leads. Then in August of 2008, your old friend, Dr. Shawn Lennox, published papers critiquing the writings of Elliot Walker, who was the former Umbrella scientist and current leader of the Manifold. Shortly thereafter, Shawn went missing, and 1 week later, he washed up on the shores of Canada, where he was rushed to the emergency room before being transferred to the John Radcliffe Hospital in his hometown of Oxford. He's now under police protection and is requesting to speak with the BSAA, namely Chauncey in particular. So the BSAA then sent Chauncey overseas, who brought with him a squad of soldiers, while the CIA sent Mr. G to retrieve whatever intel Shawn might have. So, Chauncey, as the doctor leaves room 205, you're left alone with Shawn, who's clad in a hospital gown and lying in the bed hooked up to an IV drip, with several wires reading his vitals. You hear the steady rhythm of his heartbeat beeping from a nearby monitor, and the two policemen guarding the door have stopped Mr. G outside. They're kind of going off of Shawn's word, who's deferred to you, so you've given them the go-ahead to let Mr. G in?
Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah. Shawn kind of nods to the policeman, and they gives them the go-ahead, and they go ahead and let you through, Mr. G.
And again, I'm taking a seat in one of the visitor chairs off in the corner, away from what's happening, and I have my arms are crossed in front of me with my watch facing what's happening.
Gotcha. And I can't remember. Did you identify yourself last time, or did you?
Yeah, I said I was. I think what I said was the intelligence community has a great need for what you have to say.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all I said.
Yeah, that's about it. All right.
Yeah, and when he would have said that, wanting to come in, as he says that, Chauncey is hesitant to let him in, but still lets him in because and deep inside, he thinks about the time that he kind of stole information from him prior. Now we're even, like in that sort.
It's like, all right, I'll let you off this once.
Yeah.
All right. So you come in, you take your seat, and Shawn kind of acknowledges you. He's like, So I don't believe I've met you. Are you a friend of Chauncey's?
Well, he's a colleague.
I see you have a wide array of colleagues. I guess it's been a while since, we've been as close as we once were, Chauncey.
It's been some time.
Say, how are the others? How's Katara and Nuria and all the rest?
Oh, speaking for them, they're doing well. From what I know, we've had some run-ins with some bioweapons and things of the sort, but we've always come back. And with the recent fall, like, would he know like about Atlantis and stuff?
Yeah, actually he would, because that was associated with Oxford, who had originally done it. In fact, Shawn was the one who originally recommended Nuria for the job, so he's probably up to date on all that. Yeah.
So with the fall of the Atlantis facility and noticing that there's danger everywhere, I've cured Nuria a job within the BSAA and at the camp.
Oh yes, I heard about your promotion.
Yeah, it's been fun ride.
Oh, I'm sure you're loving every second of it.
Always. As far as Katara, she's been an advisor there at the camp, and I haven't heard anything bad.
Yeah. Oh yes, I think I read something about her getting tenure at her university. That's quite a feat. I'll definitely have to congratulate that when next I speak to her. Well, as much as I'd love to just sit around and catch up, I'm afraid there's rather pressing matters we must be speaking on.
Yeah. Let's speak on it.
And he kind of turns to Mr. G. He's like, and you know this one to not be an enemy, then?
Yeah. He's got my back, I think.
Well, I suppose I can't keep calling you this one. Do you have a name that I can refer to you by?
My name is Mr. G.
Mr. G. Oh, that's quite a peculiar name. What do you represent in this matter? You mentioned the intelligence community.
Well, let's see. Really quick. Because this is official business, making my identity known as the CIA to a civilian would make sense in this situation?
Yeah, you would know just based on protocol. You've done these sorts of gigs before. Yeah, you would be cleared to make yourself known as a CIA agent, or else saying that you're just like on behalf of the United States or something like that.
Yeah, I'll say I'm here on behalf of the United States government, representing the CIA.
Oh, I see. And at this point, your watch, which you had begun to send a signal out from, is kind of like receiving a beep back. And it is ultimately on your side, since it could possibly be compromising if you're on a stealth mission, that you could let the returning signal back through.
Yeah.
So you go ahead with that? So, Chauncey, you see for the first time this sort of light begin to project out from his Mr. G's watch, and it sort of begins along the floor and ultimately makes like this full sort of 3D holographic projection of Mr. Fox, who I suppose you would recognize. And these small speakers on the sides of the watch begin to project out his voice, and he says, yes, sorry to intrude, Dr. Lennox, but I'm the one they call Mr. Fox. And as my associate here has surely let you know, the United States has great interest in the intelligence that you're offering. If I know your offer extended to Chauncey, but if it's all the same to you, we would like to have this on our record as well. And Shawn nods and he's like, oh yes, I believe I've heard of you. I think Emil made mention of you. And he's just like, well, he shouldn't have, but I suppose he's too far gone now to be reprimanded for it. Well, my offer was to Chauncey, but only because I know I can trust him, and I know he's one of the good guys, and that I feel comfortable speaking to him. But if you are no friend of bioterrorism, then it's all the same. I'm keeping no secrets. Although I understand that there have been security breaches, we'll say, that make me unsure who all can be trusted. Yes, I do understand that. I see you've heard about the little undercover situation that happened with the BSAA, but rest assured, one of my men, in fact the one you're seeing here, was also harmed as a product of that. I must say, Mr. Lennox, you seem to hear a great deal. Well, I have lots of interesting friends. So, Chauncey, Mr. G, Mr. Fox, what all have you heard about, I suppose, my recent escapade?
I just know that he like disappeared, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much all you know. He disappeared and then he washed up on like a shore a week later.
Okay. I relay that to him. Like, all I know is that you disappeared and washed up a week later.
Yeah.
By the way, Doc, you're a little bit low.
That's probably just me personally being low. I can turn the gain up though.
Alright. But Shawn continues. Well, as some of you may, or as you, Chauncey, may recall, when you first met me in Raccoon City, I was in that town in order to debate Elliot Walker at Raccoon University. Of course, Walker had fled the city, presumably knowing that that outbreak was coming, and that debate unfortunately never happened. Well, that was 10 years ago, and at the end of August I decided I might revisit some of the research, or rather the study, that I'd done to prepare for that debate and publish an article about it. Walker, of course, had released his book on genetic engineering at the time, and so I wrote a basic refutation of some of the ideas he proposed in it. And, well, shortly after that, I was assailed one night. Not all too clear on what happened, but I ended up unconscious. And when I awoke, I was imprisoned in some sort of facility, I know not where. And over the course of that next week, Dr. Walker himself visited my cell, keeping me alive seemingly only to engage in that debate that we'd long ago missed. It seems my publication had struck a bit of a nerve with him. He strikes me as a bit of a prideful type, and well, he wanted to bring me in, I suppose, to argue over the finer points. And I had no problem with it, so long as he wasn't killing me. And of course, I tried to pry him for as much information as I could get. But of course, by the end of the week, as expected, he grew tired of our interlocuting conversation, and I overheard some of his guards speaking on how they were to dispose of me. And so I made one last-ditch effort, and as they opened my cell, made my way past the guards with as much strength as I had left, and managed to get a hold of some chemicals from my kit, which I saw them store in the other room. And with that, I used what resources I had on hand to fight my way past those guards. I collected some more resources from the surrounding facility, and managed to concoct some basic chemical weapons and explosives in order to make my escape. I was quite direly injured on my way out, but I managed to punch a hole in the wall, and in leaping out I fell a great distance into the waters below. And next thing I know, I was waking up, apparently in Canada, somewhere on the northern shores, and I was being transported to an emergency room. And I suppose you know the rest of the story. But while I was there, I managed to learn a great deal about the inner workings of the manifold, at least as much as I could manipulate Walker into sharing. And of course, I learned a great deal about his view and his motivations, I suppose, as unsensible they may be to myself. And so I've called you here to be an open book and share whatever information you might be seeking about the manifold. And so if you have any questions of your own, feel free to ask them, but it seems there is one particular pressing matter that I should begin this discourse with. Evidently, the manifold has been, since its the beginning of its operation some years ago, has been gathering a number of the viruses. I understand in your last encounter with them, they managed to procure the TeknoAXE virus. Well, it seems that's just the latest in a long line. I don't know which all you are aware of, but from what I was able to gather from that discourse, they seem to be in possession of the T virus and the G virus, and some sort of parasite called the Plogger, and some sort of strange, more obscure bioweapon called the Spectre virus. And now, the latest in the collection is the TeknoAXE virus. But there are a number of other viruses that are out there, and I understand they seek to collect all of them. They also are seeking, I understand, something called the Tia Veronica virus, and also rather newer virus that has been making its rounds on the black market rumor mill called the Ouroboros virus.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, Chauncey's just like kind of nodding his head as he's going through this.
Really quick, that was T-Virus, G-Virus, Spectre, T-Abyss, T-Veronica that they're looking for is T-Veronica.
They're looking for T Veronica, yeah.
Okay, but that was, but those other ones were all of them?
Yeah, T-Virus, G-Virus, Plaga as well.
Plaga, yeah.
Which you of course you guys would be well aware of.
Yeah, we seen it.
The Spectre virus and the T-Abyss virus. Those are all the ones that are currently in their possession. He says, yes, so T Veronica virus and Ouroboros virus, I understand, are the priorities as of now in order to find. But what's more is something perhaps more disturbing in regards to how they wish to use these bioweapons. Now, these weapons are plenty dangerous on their own, but I understand, and forgive me if this may be a sore subject to bring up. Archaea. I understand, firstly, that she had some sort of special qualities within her blood. Now, I recall you making mention of her when we first met in Raccoon City, and of course you've told me much about her over the years, but I was not aware of these, I suppose, more unique traits of her physiology, and hearing of it now from Walker, I understand why you would have to keep a secret. But unfortunately, it seems her body has fallen into their hands. And in the years that have passed since then, they have been doing a great number of experiments in order to discover what makes her blood tick. And they have been using that data in order to enhance the other viruses by extreme degrees. I have seen none of the results myself, but Walker seems to be excited by the possibilities.
Really quick. After Emil did all that he did, did anybody tell Lennox what happened to Emil?
That's a good question.
I didn't.
Because as far as because as far as he knows, because Emil's still like a public figure and all that, but I don't know if he necessarily knows that you guys fell out with him.
Yeah, because he didn't say anything and was like, how's the others? He didn't mention Emil, so I was wondering if he knew already or not. But I'll bring it up, and Mr. G will say, when you're speaking with Lennox, did you hear anything about Emil's involvement? Or with Walker? Lennox, when you were speaking with Walker, did you hear anything about Emil's particular involvement?
Oh, yes. He made mention of that, actually. In our long conversations it came about. From what I understand, and I am not privy to all the details, Emil seems to have had some sort of falling out with the rest of you. But he did mention that Emil has procured some sort of alliance with the Manifold, loosely speaking. Of course, he's mentioned that, and I tried to press about it, being one interested in Emil myself, but he seemed to dodge the question for the most part. But from what I gathered, they have some sort of agreement. It seems to involve trade, perhaps, but beyond that, they are not heavily associated. I understand Walker needs something from Emil, and Emil needs things from Walker, and it is a purely symbiotic relationship that they have established. But beyond that, he didn't seem to emphasize much connection.
So as far as you're aware, Emil is doing his own thing with Greenhouse Solutions.
Yes, that seems to be the case. And knowing, of course, that Greenhouse Solutions seems to be well established now in the pharmaceutical community, that terrifies me to think what might be up to with that corporation. But alas, it is only our word that we have to offer that there is any foul play involved.
Well, seeing as he murdered Archaea, that's a pretty good sign.
Yes, of course, but how many people really know about that?
You gonna say something?
I was gonna say, seeing that when you said seeing that he killed Archaea, I said at the same time, seeing that I'm gonna kill him, it's not much of a worry.
Well, in either case, like I said, Emil may have some association with the Manifold, but the Manifold are his benefactors in this case. As far as I can tell, the Manifold, while not in the legitimate sphere of business as Greenhouse Solutions is, seems to carry with it a great deal of influence. Influence that Walker has been building quietly over these years. And that terrifies me almost far more. I know not how deep his influence goes, but from what I can tell, he carries a great deal of it. He seems to exert much control over just the system of the world, governments, intelligence communities, government organizations, and their soldiers. There seems to be not a lot that he does not know about.
So you're saying that you know that he's involved with government and other... You got his hands in a lot of other pockets?
I mean, that's what I discerned. But whether or not that's voluntary on behalf of the governments, it's hard to say. From what I can tell, he has many resources at his disposal. And what's more pressing about this, not only is that he's seeking all these viruses, but that, now that he knows what I know, and that I have escaped his grasp, I have no doubt he is going to expedite his search. You see, he has a number of chiefs under his employ, his heads of departments, so to speak. I understand you have met a few of them. At least he suggested as such. The one is, I caught his name. I caught the names of each of them, although one of them goes by his real name, Scott Moeller. Seems to be the field commander of the Manifold. And I understand he was an old compatriot of Emil Johansson. Then the other, Ronin, who was some sort of bioweapon that they call Vertigo, but it seems to be highly intelligent and highly loyal to whoever it works for. And then there was another. I believe they called her Scorpion. She seems to be some sort of spy, so to speak. And they talk about her as if she has some international renown. But I understand she's a freelance spy and security consultant of sorts that is now working almost exclusively for the Manifold. And then there is the one called Sphinx, who they use as an intelligence analyst. I've done some of my own research into him from this bedside and asked around. I understand he's a notorious international hacker who's made quite a name for himself. In his earlier years, I understand he made quite a splash after breaking Google's firewalls. But that was a number of years back. He's since gone on to do far more illegitimate things, and he seems to offer his skills to the highest bidder. And it seems Walker is now that highest bidder. And I'll say you guys also will have noticed that, because you guys saw Sphinx, which most people haven't, even those who know him by reputation. And when you guys saw him, he didn't look like, he could have been any older than like his early 20s, and he was a kid when you saw him 3 years back. So you presume when he says a few years back he made a name for himself, he must have been like a teenager doing all this hacking business.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything the CIA know about Sphinx?
Make a history check.
All right. 14?
You definitely would have heard of him through CIA files, if not before you met him, at least after, during those 3 years of downtime, especially after hearing the name.
Yeah.
I will say with that role, yeah, you would know well enough his general reputation. He's a notorious international hacker, and not much is known about his identity. Obviously, given that given that he is a hacker and that he is in the business of controlling information. But you do know, given his pedigree and given his line of work, that he would be the kind of guy with the ability to get into government systems and break through those kinds of firewalls and things like that. So, yeah, that's generally what you would know about him.
Okay.
So, those are the Walker's 4 chiefs, as I understand it. And as I also understand it, it seems he has dispatched these 4 to do his dirty work around the world. And from what I understand, they are currently in the process of searching for these 2 remaining viruses that he does not have in his possession.
Yeah, you're looking for Ouroboros, right?
Yeah, Ouroboros was the other one. T. Veronica and Ouroboros. So, as I mentioned earlier, I have brought you here because, well, I know that I can trust you, Chauncey, to do the right thing, and I know that after hearing this, you're probably just as worried as I am. I know you have a great deal of resources at your disposal, and I presume our American friends here do as well. Now that I have escaped, and now that Walker is sure to be expediting his hunt for these viruses, knowing that that information may be out there now, well, I'm afraid it may be a race against time. But, using your resources, I'm sure you could locate these viruses just as well as he can, and perhaps beat him to them, and stop his men from being able to lay their hands on them.
Really quick, when you said they were using Archaea's blood to enhance these viruses, do you know if they have Archaea's body or if Emil does?
It wasn't clear to me. All I know is that they somehow have samples of sorts, enough data and tissue and blood samples to work with. But I understand her blood type is very particular and very rare, and even just a small sliver of it is enough to concentrate and multiply such that they can enhance these viruses. From what I understand, their goal in their research is to reduce the rise of uncontrollable mutations and funnel them for more specific purposes.
So when you broke out, it was over the ocean.
Yes, I couldn't see much as I was being pursued, but from the view that I was able to find, in the brief glance I got, it seemed that I was in the midst of some sort of tower, some sort of tall tower. And there was water beneath where on the side that I jumped off, but it seemed to be surrounded otherwise by ice or snow maybe. It was and there was a lot of white. It was hard to tell, but...
You said you were washed up on the northern shore of Canada.
Indeed.
Okay, then there's not many other places it could be.
Well, north of Canada, there is a great deal of ice, and I suppose the Antarctic is a very large continent. Even knowing that, it may not narrow our possibilities down too much.
It narrows us down a hemisphere and a half.
I suppose
That's more than what
that.
we had before.
Oh, well, I like your optimism.
No optimism, just business.
Very well. Do you have any other questions that you might want to know? Again, I had much conversation with Walker and probably know a great deal that I might not necessarily be summoning to mind right now without prompt.
Did you hear in detail on what the manifold, like, what the manifold people actually are made up of? Like, I don't know how to word that properly, but
Made up of.
yeah, like, is it their evolvedness? Like, does he know what they're evolved with and whatnot?
What they're all infected with?
Yeah,
Oh, I
infected
see,
with, that's the word.
You're asking about the nature of their mutations.
Yes.
Well, all of the guards, and they had a great deal of armed men who are always on call. I'm not sure if you have encountered many of their soldiers in your expeditions, but they seem to have the equivalent of a small army. What I noticed of the guards was that some of them had, or at least at times, eyes that glowed red. From what I've read into, that might belay a number of different kinds of infections, but given that they all seem to be they all seem to have normal human intelligence and they seem to follow orders very strictly, I'd imagine those soldiers and all their men are infected with that parasite, the Plaga. But
We've dealt with those kinds before.
and that I have no doubt that you can deal with their foot soldiers. But it's the leader of those soldiers that I'm most worried about. This Scott Moeller seems to be quite capable, and from what I understand, he is infected in a similar manner to his men, with some sort of Plaga parasite, but it seems to... his mutation seems to be quite different. He doesn't seem to be strictly under Walker's control, rather he chooses to follow Walker willingly. And so... but he brings a lot of military expertise to their army, and he leads the men as a sort of field commander, as I mentioned before. And aside from that, I think it's to be assumed that they have a great deal of various bioweapons, various creatures that they are developing, although I did not get to lay eyes on any of those. But the facility that I was in seemed to have many floors and many laboratories. I have no doubt that they're working on any number of bioweapons that you may have encountered in the past, and given the variety of viruses that they have access to, it does not spell good news. They've probably developed just about any sort of monster you can think of.
What should we do about your safety?
Don't worry about my safety. I got police protection. I have some friends still, of course, in TerraSave. In fact, I'm still considered the head science advisor of TerraSave. Some of them have been checking in on me, and some of them are quite capable themselves. And not to mention, I try to keep my chemical kit close at hand nowadays, so you need not worry about me. I'll take care of myself. As soon as I'm out of this blasted bed, then I will likely be returning to Oxford. I'll probably be heading up much research there and trying to help you all in any way that I can. Of course, I'm not a frontliner in the same way that you are, but I still think I can do my part doing research and trying to discern new techniques for fighting bioweapons. In fact, this building here, I understand it's technically part of the Oxford system. You might want to check around, see if there are any research you could support around here that might be of use to you.
Yeah, I'll do that.
In any event, I am sure that the Manifold may be seeking to finish the job with me, but, as I said, there are high priorities, namely cutting them off from their goals. And I suppose that's precisely the point. Walker made his, I suppose, manifesto clear in my speaking with him. It seems that their goals ultimately are quite extreme in nature. Walker seems to be obsessed with this idea of elevating the global population using viruses to create, I don't know, some sort of hypothetical utopia comprised of immaculate and immortal post-humans, so to speak. And if he gathers all of the viruses and uses Archaea's blood to enhance them, and with the resources he has at his disposal, that goal may not be too far off. It would be no exaggeration to say that the world is now at stake in this race.
Do you know if Archaea's body was in that facility?
Again, it's hard for me to say. It seemed a rather large facility. Like I said, it was a tower. And whether or not it's in Walker's possession or Emil's, it was unclear to me. Does it seem...
I just put my...
Oh, yeah, where you're going?
I was going to say... Go ahead. You go ahead first.
Oh, he was just going to ask us, just like... Nonetheless, does that seem like something that is within your purview? Would you be capable of tracking down these viruses?
That or we're going to be able to delay them from finding them.
Good.
But then I put my hand on his shoulder. Rest, friend. We'll go from here.
Well, I've given you the information. It's in your hands now. I have no doubt you'll give it your all. I know from personal experience that you're no stranger to putting your life on the line. But be warned. Walker spoke very highly of his 4 chiefs, and given that you seem to have encountered them and they walked away to tell the tale, it seems they are far more dangerous than any of the people you have encountered before.
They caught us off guard. We know that. They know that. It won't happen again.
Well, it's good to see you haven't lost your edge, Captain Clancy.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't lose an edge on this knife. This guy's too sharp.
And Mr. Fox at this point chimes in, his kind of holographic voice coming out of the speakers, just going, Well, it seems the situation is far more dire than I previously knew. Thank you for your information, Dr. Lennox. The CIA will do everything in its power to subvert what the Manifold is trying to do. Well, Mr. G, this is your new priority. Track down those viruses by any means necessary, and stop them from acquiring it by any means necessary. Whether by safe disposal or by putting them in government hands, doesn't matter. As long as it's not with the Manifold, we could count that as a win. And Captain Clancy, I trust you've worked with my agent, Mr. G, on a good few occasions. Would you mind letting him tag along with you if you were to locate any of these viruses, and accompany you on the missions to secure them?
I will allow it.
Good, and we'll be sure to share any information that the CIA has if we acquire leads any faster. Alright, Mr. G. Your orders, as before, are still ongoing, but for now this takes priority. The manifold is a threat, and quite frankly, it seems they're trying to play an elaborate chess game with the world right now, and I'm not one to be outplayed. Get to it.
Yes, sir.
And with that, Mr. Fox disappears.
I get up and just walk out the room. All right, said my goodbyes.
Leave the room as well.
Alright, so the two of you leave, and you are now out in the sort of clean and pristine hallways of the John Radcliffe Hospital. So, you guys kind of push past the two cops that are guarding the door, and Chauncey, your men are still positioned where you last left them. What do you guys wish to do?
Where did he say we could go? It just slipped off my tongue. He said something to me that we could go and get research done.
Oh, he said this hospital is associated with Oxford. So he said if you ask around, you might be able to find out that if there's anything you can do to help with their research.
I'd like to do that. Go
Okay.
Just bebop around and ask people some questions.
Yeah, so you start asking around, and people, if you're asking about that, people will generally kind of point you towards some of the upper levels, where apparently there are some laboratories associated with Oxford that are used up there.
We'll head up there and just have my entourage follow me, I guess.
Yeah, you just got here, just rolling out with the squad and these big, heavy armored guys just flanking you on either side.
Yep.
What's Mr. G doing?
I'm going to Canada.
So you're just taking off from there.
Yep.
All right. So Mr. G splits off from you. Oh, excuse me, and Chauncey, you head up to the upper levels. When you get to the 4th floor, you find the research laboratories that are there, and you manage to. There are a lot of. It's like a bit of a busy area, and again, also very clean and pristine looking. But you do see like a number of lab coats walking to and fro, and you could probably easily stop one of them if you want to find out more if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, so you just grab somebody as they're going by. You see this, again, another lab coat gentleman with like kind of like a pair of glasses over his eyes. He's just like, oh, yes, how can I help you?
I'm here to help Linux with research. What do you have?
Huh. Oh, I must say, I didn't know Shawn had such, should I say, well-equipped friends. Yeah, this is quite a surprise. I didn't expect to see any military types. Well, you've come to the right person to ask. I'm actually, I consider Dr. Lennox a bit of a mentor to me. And yes, he has given me a fair bit of purview in using, around Oxford and freedom to use some of these laboratories at some of our facilities. Well, he's, what I've been pitching around as of late is a bit of an ambitious, sort of augmentation program. I don't know in what way you would be able to help. Are we talking, what, funding or security or?
Tell me what you need.
Well, honestly, funding is probably the hardest thing about making anything happen. But I think we have facilities here that are capable of doing what I intend to do with these biotech augmentations. But if only we had more funding in order to give good proofs of concept and trial runs. But here, maybe I should just... And he pulls you into another office and shows you around to some files and spends some time showing you what he would like to do. So basically, for $100,000 and a year's time, you can fund a biotech augments program here, which basically will allow you once per lifetime to spend some time and money to get a surgery that will enhance you physically or neurologically, and basically you get an ability score increased by 1. So that's available here.
Does that go past 20?
No, up to a maximum of 20.
I'm so close to just having to read a book.
Mm.
I obviously don't have $100,000. But
Oh well,
I might know.
here, take a one of our pamphlets. This is my general pitch document that I use when I'm talking about it. Perhaps you could contact me from there. My information should be on it. If ever you find anybody who might be interested in funding this kind of research.
I'll do that. I'll take his pamphlet. Is there anything else to research at Oxford? Or is
that's the main thing that's here right now.
Yeah. All right. Guess we head back to the camp.
All right.
I have a lot of money.
You left for Canada.
All right. So with that, you get back. You taxi back to the airport, and fly back stateside. Now, so for I guess this upcoming couple of days, you guys are pretty much free to roam and do any research or investigation that you guys need to do to find out where you want to go next. But Mr. G said you're already off for Canada.
Yep.
Okay. So what are you looking for in particular there?
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm just going there because I'm hoping it'll put me closer to wherever they might be. But I'm just going there instead of going back to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look at wherever Lennox washed up and look at like ocean currents or whatever to see where if I can narrow down where that base might be.
Okay. So yeah, you would know that he did wash up,
and if possible too, just like try to get some spy satellites going with Fox.
Oh yeah, right.
Around the Arctic Circle.
Okay, so yeah, you would know that from your briefing, that he washed up on the shore of St. John's in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. And so that would probably be the area around which you would localize your search.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you head up there, you do some investigation. Go ahead and roll an investigation check to see what you find out from all your research into currents and whatnot.
Oh. Well. 13.
Unfortunately, you don't make too much headway. You consult a couple of local experts, and transport and fishermen types and sailors. You try to piece together as much of a profile as you can, but from what you could tell, around this time of the year, the currents can be quite unpredictable, and there's any number of places north of here that he could have washed in from. It doesn't seem to narrow your search too much.
All right. How about getting spy satellites over the Arctic Circle?
Okay, so you get in touch with Fox, and he is sure to pass that along to see if they could get the U.S. to dedicate some resources to that. and so they're kind of focusing their sort of imagery and searching over that area.
Mm-hmm. Can I get a copy of Walker's book and Lennox's book?
Okay. Yeah, you could probably find those on on some store shelves if you go to the right places. If not, you could probably order it online.
Of course.
Actually, might still have... Hold on, let me see. Yeah, here we go.
I'm not looking for them as an item.
Yeah, but I'm at least seeing how much they cost.
Oh.
So yeah, you could get Dr. Walker's book for $30. It's called The Power of Bioengineering. And same price for Lennox's book, which is A Brief History of Ethics in Science.
The rebuttal?
Oh, the rebuttal you were looking for. That was
yeah.
That was just like an essay that he published in, so you could probably find it in whatever scientific journal he usually publishes in.
Okay.
So that's that's publicly available.
I'm dedicating some research to trying to become a armchair expert on those two subjects.
Okay.
And I want to start some online just more counterintelligence, basically a lot of, what do you call that? I want to start some forums publicly attacking Walker's point of view. And
okay.
Try to become an armchair expert and just like start some forums on like, hey, this guy's like an actual lunatic.
Basically just troll him online.
Yes, and I want to create as and I want to try to create as much like through like bot accounts. Try to create as much just garbage about this guy. Use it, but that is at least well researched.
Mm-hmm. So again, that armchair expert thing where it's like just enough to give it some air of legitimacy.
Yeah, but if questioned any further, I obviously don't know any actual genetic science, but it sounds like basically just parroting the kind of stuff that's in the essay about him. It's like, oh yeah, all this stuff that's wrong about his worldview makes him a bad person. And I'm basically going to do the same thing I'm doing with all his other lackeys. I'm just attacking his ego to try to waste his time.
I see.
And also listening, keeping an eye out, try to make some of those accounts have like physical locations maybe, and see what happens if anything happens at any of these like trapped locations. Like basically giving an address to some of these identities that are safe houses that I would know of that I have access to.
Okay. I'll say
setting up like a weird sting operation.
It's a counter sting operation. I'm trying to get him to attack me.
So I'll say, okay, that's quite a lot to set up, and of course with enlisting some of your other CIA comrades, you could probably like enlist Mr. E in helping you get that all set up. I'll say, see how well you can do this.
How long do we have to go to do like a short little break here?
I mean, it depends. I mean, the world will keep moving, but the sooner that, again, it's now a race against time, since Walker's people are going to be doubling down on looking for these viruses. So, I would say this in particular won't take more than.
Did Lennox say that
1 or 2 days?
Did Lennox say the timeline of when he wanted to start looking around?
Of
or
when?
Just like, I mean, obviously it's ongoing, but like, did he say that? Do we know if Lennox said anything? I guess could we, retroactively ask him if he knows any timelines for any missions, or if he overheard any of that kind of stuff?
No.
Or if he just knows soon and present danger.
Basically, yeah, soon and present danger. Yeah, that's kind of the gist you got. you got from
Okay.
him. He would have definitely shared it with you guys if he knew specific times and dates. But I'll say, in order to make this all happen, and like I said, it won't take any more than a day or two. Since it's mostly
I'm
like,
just basically
done
I'm setting stuff in
remotely.
place and having my network do it.
Yeah. I'll say, just so that we could have checks associated with some of these tactics that you try to pull. I'll say I'll call it a spy
Technology
gadgets check.
deception check.
I'll call it a spy
Okay.
gadgets check because you're probably using your spy gadgets in some point in the process, and plus it's just your general just spyness that you're putting to work, your spy skill set, generally speaking. So yeah, you probably uses the full set of your tools. I'll say make a charisma spy gadgets check, since this is your ability to, again, wrangle your allies and pull in some help and also execute the deception of the whole operation.
Can I make a deception? Okay. It's more with the spy gadgets.
Oh, okay. Actually, if it's a charisma
But no,
spy
it's
gadgets, it'd be the same.
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. Why is
Oh my
what's
goodness.
happening? Why there's so many dice?
I don't know
What?
why there are so many dice.
What's happening? Let's
I saw that too. For some reason, hold on, let me show this on the stream. For some reason, Roll20 just rolled like 5 dice for that roll.
yeah. And on the side, it took 2 of them, even though I only put in just the 1. Oh, no. That
13 was your investigation.
Yeah.
So it only took 1 of them.
I'll take the 22 and not the 1 or the 2 that's showing.
That was weird. That was very bizarre. I think that was the first one that rolled anyway.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Yeah. Well,
2 rolled for the first one for me.
that was bizarre.
I thought I rolled advantage by accident. But sidebar says I didn't, so 12.
Yeah,
or
I mean, like I said,
22.
whenever Roll20 screws up, we go to the sidebar. So, 22. Yeah, so you're able to disseminate this well enough. And
Smear campaign.
Yeah, giant smear campaign. And you even, on a couple of those posts, see a good few engagements from non-bots that give it even some more validity and make it seem like a real thing. So, yeah, you seem to be spreading that noise, and if he decides to look into stuff in the search engine, that's now going to float straight to the top.
Good. Search engine is go right up to wait, who was that? That was who was the guy that I used last time for hacking?
I think that was Mr. E.
All right, yeah, that's still mystery. Yeah, so just like
so he helped you again.
yeah, just straight up, just like search engine optimize the heck out of all of these forums.
Oh, he knows what to do.
Just like you go up, like you even like passively do anything like remotely related to genetic engineering or viruses or monsters. It's just like the first post that comes up is just like all that stuff, all those forums. But
Does Sasquatch exist?
does Sasquatch exist? Walker's a weirdo. That's the answer to that question.
All right. So you've
Walker needs to
disseminated
have
all
his
that.
license removed. No,
Also,
but I'm also
at some point in your misadventures in Canada, by the way, you do actually pick up at one of the local medical places. I would say you could get yellow herb for like $300.
Oh right, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grab that really quick, and I'm just gonna
Yeah, I mean the
take
person you
that.
obtain it from probably thinks you're some sort of opioid addict, but
I'm not.
but yeah,
I look like one. I come in full tats.
That's true. That's probably how you come in. Yeah. So yeah, you can
just going into
yeah, you could probably
what are those-
acquire
what
one
are
from
those,
a
like,
pharmacy kind of under the table.
yeah. What are those kind of like when you're on heroin and then you need to replace it with that other thing to wean
Methadone?
yourself off of it? Methadone. It's like a methadone clinic. I'm just going. I'm just like, hey man, I need a yellow herb.
Yeah. Do you have a prescription for that?
I'm no longer taking yellow herbs. If it is meaning methadone.
No, it's just like
I agree with it
general
being the
herb
heroin. That's what I agree with it being just heroin.
Okay, yeah. So all right. Oh no, I already rolled.
All right. So, anything else you guys are doing? And Chauncey, I'm assuming you get back to Camp Clancy and fill in your unit on the details.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
yeah. So, Sarah, you would get caught up on what's all happened during that excursion.
and I know Qatar's not available, but I would inform her of his situation and all that stuff too. Neri as well.
I don't think Mr. G knows, but especially since Katara has T-virus in her.
Also true.
Yeah.
Or I mean, no, yeah, she has Veronica, right?
No, she switched. That's the one she switched out.
Yeah, she got rid of it.
But she does, have T-virus.
But she still has access to it. So like,
true.
I don't know if Mr. G knows, but we should probably look into securing that campus.
That or disposing of it.
You'd have to go. You'd have to pass that one by Katara.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like that's I would tell her to secure it and or dispose of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be secured.
We'll have to run that past Katara.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, using like my war room, am I able to find like locations in the ocean that weren't there previously via satellite?
You would have probably access to some intelligence, as far as like the BSAA's resources from that war room. But yeah, if you were to set your resources towards that task, it would probably be moving through at the same rate as the CIA's, if not slower. So,
could I also put my sister to task on that?
Okay, yeah. Do you get in touch with the NSA?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you get in touch with your sister in the NSA, and she's definitely open to assisting you with this, seeing as if you explain it as being a national security concern. But yeah, she if you call her up, she'll just be like, "Oh yeah, that's kind of a big deal. I'm gonna see what I can do about it, but I'll get back to you on that."
Can I get in touch with Maya and ask her if she has any intel on where any T Veronica can be found, and what's the
Ouroboros?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. So you get in touch with Maya, and she's just like, okay. And I'm assuming she's all you fill her in on what the stakes are.
Yeah.
2005 right now?
2008.
Oh, right. That was long.
Yeah, because 3 years. But yeah, she's like, all right, I'll see what I can pull. I'll say I'll have you make a quick check on her behalf. Let's say roll a d20.
Okay.
Add a plus. We'll say +5 bonus to it.
Okay.
With advantage though, because of her crazy resources.
Oh.
that was teetering.
It does that to me every time, but 19.
All right, 19. That's really good. So yeah, in her investigations, she comes back to you within a day, just like, all right, well, I had to pull some favors in other state departments in order to get access to some of this information, but as far as I can tell, you said it was Ouroboros was one of the ones you were looking for. That is a little sketchy. I mean, most of the rumors on it are just noise, as far as I can tell. But the BSAA has been actually making a bit of a priority of trying to track down, see if there's any validity to the existence of this virus. In fact, one of our founders, Chris, or one of the BSA's founders, Chris Redfield, he's actually made a bit of a push to look into that. But some of them, again, a lot of it's just noise. But one of the more legitimate things that seems concrete, that seems worth looking into, is black market merchants calling themselves Section 3. They seem to be based out of Johannesburg in South Africa, and apparently one of their members is claiming to be selling some sort of Ouroboros virus prototype amongst his black market contacts. Again, a lot of it's just noise, and that may be one of them, but in my investigation, that seems to have the most grounding. There's definitely a lot more to that one than any of the other rumors.
Am I able to get on the war room and see if there's any missions sending out to Johannesburg?
It doesn't seem like the BSAA has any priorities in Johannesburg at the moment. But as soon as you report this intelligence, they'll definitely give you the go-ahead to go out there as part of your ongoing mission with fighting the Manifold. And they also, if you bring this intelligence to light, they'll also point out, and you'll receive this communication through your war room, that because the BSAA doesn't have a South African branch, but it does have a West African branch, and so they point out that they do have an agent in the West African branch who was originally from South Africa, and so they would likely send them over to basically act as a guide to your team if you were to go over there.
I wish I had the rest of my team here. I'll contact Mr. G, by ways of asking him what he would think, being that I'm supposed to tag him along.
About South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could be there probably end of the day.
And then I gotta invite Katara.
Yeah, and Katara, when you contacted her, she, by the way, she would have definitely mentioned that she wants to be kept up to speed on everything. And she's like, all right, if you find any leads, just let me know. University's got a lot of construction going on, so we get a lot of downtime nowadays. I'm definitely more than willing to help if it means fighting these guys that have been giving us all this trouble. Not to mention, I want to get back at that agent that stabbed us in the back.
Well, pack your bags, lady. Let's go. So, will the BSAA be sending us to West Africa?
You would have to take commercial flights once again, and I'm actually thinking at this point, since you guys are doing so much commercial flying, I might just add that to your guys' financial thing, that you have some sort of treat it basically as an average, you have a certain monthly budget that you have for travel.
Do I got air miles?
Exactly.
Miles.
Yeah, by this point you certainly would. So I will actually we'll deal with costs after the session then, and I'll basically work it into your finances from here on out, just so that you guys know that you could just take commercial flights whenever you want, and again, you could just use your credentials to transport all your gear and stuff. The BSA would make sure that's all legitimate. And also, Mr. G, so you're just tagging along with them. Are you doing any more investigation or anything using your own resources?
Well, I'm continuing everything that I was doing in there, but it's if they say that there's something going on in South Africa, then it's I don't need to be in Canada to run this stuff.
True.
So I'm just gonna if they need my weapon, then I will tag along with them to South Africa, because I can still run all that stuff from anywhere. I have, as long as I can just get some contacts out. But in terms of that was a lot that I was doing, so I don't think I'm gonna get any. I have a lot that I want to do, but we'll see.
That's true.
see what's all gonna happen. That was a lot to pack into a few days, though.
Yeah. I'll say in total it's been probably, we'll say 3 days. When you guys start packing to depart for South Africa, it will have been 3 days from your meeting with Shawn.
Actually, one last thing.
Okay.
Just before I leave, since I'm already in Canada, can I take one last look at seeing as the Great Lakes are right below me? I just want to take one last look at Greenhouse Solutions before I leave the continent.
Okay. Yeah, you do some more recon.
Yeah. What I want to do is, if possible, get my own boat so there's no one else with me, and just like from some some random bank next to, or that's not some pier or has any place else. I'm just gonna go out and try to see if I can get there. But what I want to do is I want to see if I can see any people of importance at that are on the grounds. Right? No, I wouldn't be able to because there's foliage between the me and them,
lots
right?
of the island. Yeah, lots of the island is covered in thick forestry.
Right, because okay, yeah, never mind. I keep imagining in my head that the island is clear, but I remembered it's actually in the middle of the forest. All right. Well, I'll be heading to South Africa.
Okay. And also, as all of you are preparing to depart, you do also, I would say, Chauncey, you get actually contacted back from Cambria at one point.
Okay.
And I would say, Mr. G, this probably comes through your channels as well, although separately. But yeah, Cambria calls you up directly, and she's just like, "Hey, how you doing, bro?"
I'm doing.
Yeah, well, we're still over here looking into what you asked about, but I just thought I'd throw this your way, because I think this kind of concerns you. Something just passed by my desk. Apparently, a cargo boat from Sicily to New York was carrying 3 stowaways. And we only know about that because one dock worker was killed upon spotting them. Interpol believes that these stowaways were Mario Feliciano and his bodyguards. And apparently Mario has been exiled in Sicily, essentially. He's trying to avoid extradition. He's very wanted here in the States. But it seems... I don't know what might be bringing him back here, but I have a bad feeling it might be a vendetta sort of thing. Those mafia types tend to hold grudges. So, guess watch out for that.
That was a Feliciano?
Yeah, Mario Feliciano.
I'm trying to remember. That wasn't the kid.
That was Don Feliciano's son.
That was the kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just
Raph.
thought I'd give you a heads up about that.
Really quick.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I have killed a capo before. That was from the Italian mob, not the Felicianos, right?
Yeah, I think that was just, the regular Italian mob.
All right. Just making sure. So, okay. To watch that house.
Phew.
Sounds like it's
So
raining.
they're already in the States?
I mean, yeah, that's that's what she informed you of. It seems when the cargo boat landed in New York. A dock worker was killed upon spotting 3 of the stowaways. And obviously there were some other witnesses that were able to report it. But yeah, it seems they're in the States right now.
Was there any like intel on the dead dock worker, like photos and stuff that I could look at?
Yeah, there might have been
cameras.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at like reports, you would probably find photos from the NYPD and things like that, and you would have access to that kind of information given your resources. But you would, so you're like looking for like specifically the dock worker that got killed.
Yeah, how he died.
It seems like
Oh my god.
seems like it was blunt force trauma. Specifically to the head, he got his face beat in, basically.
Was there a murder weapon?
They did not find a murder weapon. In fact, I did mention that there would have been some extra witnesses that did survive. Nobody saw specifically the dock worker getting killed, but they did point out that, again, it's assumed to be Mario Feliciano and his bodyguards, because there was one gentleman and 2 like much larger gentlemen that were with him.
A heightened security.
Okay, we're on Camp Clancy.
Yeah, heightened security on the camp, and
I have a question. Speaking of the camp, but after this.
Okay.
go ahead.
Oh, just what happened to the research being done on the extra steroid?
Oh yeah, you guys haven't checked back in with that.
I'll check back in right now.
Okay. So you head back to Camp Clancy and go down and talk to Quint.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose since you've been at Camp Clancy
Well,
these few days, but yeah.
I'm assuming I haven't left yet.
Yeah. He stopped the flight.
There's also been 3 years. There's also been 3 years.
That's true. It has also been 3 years.
Because it doesn't take 3 years to just look at this thing and tell us what it is. It doesn't take that long to cast identify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, I thought you'd never check in about that thing. Well, it seems to be, well, I guess it's not your standard issue steroid, and this is, of course, the one, it was a meal steroid that you gave to him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the jank steroid.
It's like, yeah, this definitely isn't your mother's steroid. This thing is quite potent. But it's similar to some of the other performance-enhancing drugs that I've seen our own medical staff create, but, well, this one just doesn't seem to have any detrimental side effects. Like, you could use it, and then you're all good. So basically, it's the same thing as a regular steroid, except there is no stun at the end of the duration, and it has several doses within one vial.
Okay. Ask him if he's able to recreate it.
Well, I might be able to, given some time, but it might cost some additional funding. We're not exactly outfitted for that kind of sort of drug engineering. We're not a full pharmacy here.
Yeah. Well, let me know what you need, and we'll get around to it.
All right, sounds good, boss.
Can that go into my insulated pouch?
Probably not, because it would technically be a crafted item, so you could only store ingredients in the insulated pouch.
I'd need a syringe too, though, to administer it, though, right?
No, it comes with it.
Because it had multiple. Oh, I thought you said it had multiple doses.
It does have multiple doses, but like, you only need to you only use it partially, essentially, in order to get the same effect.
Okay. Okay. 'Cause I have one steroid now.
I can hold on to the one steroid, and you can have the vial.
Okay, we'll do that.
And that was just a regular dart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll
so when
give
you
that to
guys-
me when we're in.
Yeah, when you guys
Johannesburg.
reconvene.
Yeah, we're heading to Johannesburg, right?
Mhm.
South Africa. Is that where we're going?
So, not really knowing what Katara has in her inventory. I have a bunch of stuff for her. So when we get back with Mel, I have like a bunch of loot to drop.
Yeah.
On the way to leaving, would I cross paths with Sarah?
I mean,
Yes.
certainly.
I was wondering if Sarah was going to answer that one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would hope so.
I let you know that there's a mission we're going to go on, and I'm willing to give you a second chance if you're willing to accept it.
She
So you
says,
can go along with us.
of course.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Pack your bags, let's go.
She's always somewhat packed. Like, alright, I'll grab my bags and we'll go.
She doesn't even know where they're going.
she
No, I'm
goes-
kidding.
Nope.
Doesn't matter. She's going.
Exactly.
Captain tells you to go. You say, "All right, I'm already there."
Right? I'm already wherever you need to be. So she goes, gets her bags, and she's ready to go when you are.
Also, I'm not sure if there are any problems with the stream right now. I'm getting some weird numbers on OBS. It says it's dropped down to 0 kilobytes per second.
Oh, hold on. It's buffering.
Is it
Oh,
buffering?
yeah, it is buffering. Yay. It's on.
Is it on?
Yep, it's back up.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm getting the green light from OBS here. All right. So sorry about that. The stream just seemed to have quickly crashed. Might be from this inclement weather we're having. I don't know.
I can hear the rain in your room.
No, yeah, I could see it breaking the noise gate every once in a while. All right.
Yeah, just so you know, that's also in my area. So,
Yeah.
like I said, one drop, I'm out.
It's true.
It's true. All right. I actually should have done this while we were down, but let me just roll something really quick. Actually, does anybody... Actually, I can check this on my own. But yeah, so what do you... in the meantime, what are you guys doing? You guys are just getting packed up to leave?
I'm going from Canada to Johannesburg.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm putting my team on high alert. I guess until we're all together and ready to rock and roll, I'll be on high alert as well. And we'll order Sarah to be on high alert as well.
So yeah, base is on high alert. All the troops take up guard positions, and everybody's keeping an eye out in case any ne'er-do-wells come near the manor grounds. I'll say.
And,
I'll
I
say.
would also
Go ahead and roll a perception check while you guys are during that time, that brief time. See if you notice anything.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I do.
Wow.
Natural 20.
There's a blip on the radar.
Bloop. So for the most part, and this is just like in the last hours of the last day you're there, right? Like this is just before you're taking off, standing by waiting for Sarah to get her stuff together. Don't really notice anything too out of the ordinary for the most part. Some birds flock in the distance. But you do notice by the front gate a car drive by down the road out to this isolated area. And the same car drives away a few minutes later.
Did it look like it had more individuals when it pulled up and less individuals when it left?
With that nat 20, I mean, you're probably, I'll say because of the nat 20.
The front camera.
Yeah,
Gate camera.
Oh yeah, that's right. There is a camera out front, right where that gate is. I forgot you guys had to put up with that. And plus, you're probably up on the rooftop with Archer, who is sort of the sniper that keeps guard from up there.
I imagine they also just have cameras all over the place.
We have cameras everywhere.
yeah. Well, I mean, specifically though, the one at the front gate that you guys had to put up with is exactly where that car drove by. Like, it drove by right in front of that camera. So, yeah, you would definitely be able to check the tapes and see that. It's a bit difficult to see precisely what's all in there, but there did look to be perhaps around 3 individuals inside, or rather 2 individuals as it came in and as it went, same amount both ways.
But I do have a description of the vehicle.
No, it just looks like a very inconspicuous, just like brown sedan. Nothing out of the ordinary.
I didn't know if I caught plates or something with the camera.
I mean, it's just like a little CCTV, so the resolution probably isn't good enough, and it's just far enough out of the way that you can't quite identify the plates.
Okay. Well, that's odd.
That's not okay.
That puzzles me. Like, I'm wondering if we should go and investigate that real quick.
I don't think I've technically left for Johannesburg yet. I can make a quick detour to go to.
I thought you were meeting up with us and then leaving with us. We're waiting on you.
I told you I can get to Johannesburg straight because instead of making 2 flights, I can just make the one from Canada. But if you want me, I can detour to Camp Clancy first.
Always detour to Camp Clancy. We have the goods.
All right, fair enough.
Exactly.
All right, so I will have detour to Camp Clancy on.
And you're actually not too far from Camp Clancy. Yeah, you're just flying down south to the States.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit. So yeah, you make a stop at Camp Clancy. And I did say it only took like 1 or 2 days to do all your business, so you arrive there by that 3rd day when this is all happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I assume you eventually just cab down to the front gates and get dropped off, and you're able to reconvene with the rest of the party. The rest of you see Mr. G walk up the long road leading up to the manor, and by this point, the crops, or rather the vineyard, is like all died down. So because since Chauncey had all that just like not sustained for the duration, so now that it's been a few years, there's probably no remnants of that left, and it's just like this big flat field at the front with this one road cutting through the middle of it.
So would I have arrived before or after that car arrived? Like, would I have been there when Chauncey was like, "Hey, what's this? Check the CCTV."
Yeah, sure. I would say before, and yeah, you made it there kind of in the morning, and this is in sort of the afternoon hours just before you guys leave.
Well, if you want to spend an extra day looking into that, I could pull some of my contacts again, see if I can get close to the Felicianos. I was pretty close to them before, although it might be a little bit harder now, but I might be able to do something about it.
All I know is that Mario is possibly in the area. And we know the way crime families like to deal with crime. And especially if we took something of value to them.
Like his life? I can do that.
No. I'm saying what we took from him, which is this manager. So, okay. But I mean, yeah, if you can end his life, that's fine with me.
That's good too.
Well, keep him from coming back.
It would, wouldn't it?
Be awfully hard when you're dead.
But just make sure you see him die, because the old rule of thumb is if you don't see them die, they're not really dead.
If I kill somebody, they usually stay dead.
Well, it's up to you if you want to do this. Otherwise, my team's just going to be on high alert while we're gone.
Well, yeah, I can try to get see if I can get a hold of him.
Okay. So how does Mr. G go about that?
Well, some of my contacts are burned, seeing as I have a bounty. I put a bounty on my own head.
True.
But some of them aren't. But the problem is, I'm thinking the one that I had specifically in Chicago probably is a no-go. But yeah, I guess I'll same routine before of just like try to hit up some people that I know I'm close with and just be like, yo, I need to hide away for a little bit.
Okay.
And rejoin the scene.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just using local Chicago contacts, just sort of get back in touch with some people and rejoin the scene.
I want to spin the story that whoever put a bounty on my head, I was close with the Felicianos, and I heard through the grapevine that a Feliciano might be in town. I want to get a meeting with him to see if I can deal with the people who put a contract out on me.
Okay. I'll say make a deception check to see how well this rolls over.
Hold on, I have to make sure what number this deception check is. Okay, that's large. 21.
Whew.
I'm at.
I'm at. Yeah, so you start disseminating this information amongst the select few people who you know are well connected in the Chicago scene. You know, these guys got like family roots going back to the Chicago outfit. And
yeah. I'm pulling all of my Italian my Italian heritage.
yeah, you've got just the right tattoos showing, you know, and you set yourself up to get in their good graces. And you spin this tale, and they seem to bite quite a bit. And so, what particular?
Because technically, what I've said is not technically not a lie. There is a bounty out on my head.
It's true. There is a bounty out on your head, and you said you were just trying to get in touch with the Feliciano.
I want to ask. The idea is I want to ask them for protection against the people who put a bounty out on my head, because I was close with the family. Like, I've done jobs with the Felicianos, so hopefully the son will extend that sort of, you know, it's like, hey, I worked for your dad.
So you're looking for Feliciano protection.
I'm looking for Feliciano protection from myself.
And yeah, some of these guys, they're just like, hey, didn't you hear the Felicianos? They got got by the BSAA a while back. I mean, they don't have much pull here anymore. I mean, I heard the same rumors you did about Mario and all that, but I mean, doesn't have much power to work with. If you want to go to him, I mean, I don't see him being able to offer anything till he reclaims his throne.
Well, if he's back in Chicago, I imagine he's trying to reclaim his throne. Maybe we can do this as a trade.
Yeah, well, if he's gonna try that, he's a few years too late. I heard the BSAA have loaded that place up like even bigger gangsters than they were. I mean...
Then he's gonna need some soldiers, and I'm willing to go back to work, so... Just put it out. I'm willing to go to work, and I need this help.
Hey, like I said, I only heard the same rumors you did. I can't find Mario just as much as you can't. I mean, like I said, I heard he's back, and if he's back, he's probably looking to reclaim that throne of his. But unless he gets an army, I don't see him being able to pull that off anytime soon. He's probably looking for help, yeah, but. Like I said, nobody around here is really buying. I wouldn't know how to put you in touch with them. Sorry, man.
Just put the word out. That's all I need.
Yeah. I'll let you know if anything comes up.
For sure. Are all of my contacts in the same way, just like, this guy doesn't really have any pull around here?
Yeah, basically. Well, because, like, you get the sense that it's just, like, it's equal parts, like, yeah, he doesn't have any pull, like, he doesn't have anything we could offer him, right? It's been 3 years since the fall of the Felicianos, and the local families have kind of moved on. They've established new roots. and
Power
there's
structure's changed.
yeah, power structure has changed. Yeah, being a Feliciano doesn't really mean what it used to mean. And furthermore, there's also the fact that he's a wanted man, right? So people are kind of straying clear of him. They just don't want to get involved. So from what you gather, though, it seems like Mario Feliciano is on his own. People aren't looking to help him in the crime world.
Okay, that's also good news. How long would it take me to go out and get this information?
I would say it would probably take the rest of that day. So you'd probably want to either rest overnight, or I guess rest on a flight if you guys take a late flight, and then just you could rest as you're traveling eastward.
All right. Yeah, so I'll return back to Camp Clancy, and I'll let Chauncey know that they're pretty much on the run. They're not going to have an army to come at you. It's just going to be those 3 guys. If you want me to continue, I can try to take them out ahead of time.
Nah, my boys can handle this.
Pistol Grip Pete's just like somewhere brandishing his gun, just like, yeah, 3 guys. What are we if we can't handle 3 guys?
All right.
I guess we head for our night flight.
Yeah, so you guys get the gang together, so I'm assuming, are you just taking the main party, or?
Oh, I mean,
Again,
you
like
might want to
Mr.
leave
G
some
and
everyone
Sarah
here.
and- yeah. Tara.
yeah. Well, yeah, and I just put the others to task.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, you make sure security's all up to snuff and get this place fortified on high alert. Alright, and as you reconvene and gather everyone together and bring Katara back in, she's just actually, she comes in all like locked and loaded. She's got all of her weaponry ready to go, and she's just like, alright, so are we gonna go or what?
Well, let's go.
And as you guys are like on your way
down.
yeah, as you guys are on your way and kind of
Yeah.
like heading out, she does actually point out, she's like, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I did a little bit of investigating over my own over these past couple of days to see if I could find out anything new. Started using some of my own contacts. Of course, I got quite a bit of money now, so I guess all of high society is a little bit well connected. I thought there might be some rumors running around. See if there's anything that could help us. There was one thing that caught my attention. There are some rumors about this affluent collector and entrepreneur who's based in Tokyo. Now, some people are spreading word that he has possession of the T. Veronica virus and that it's some big secret prized possession of his. Might be worth looking into if we're looking for the T. Veronica.
Can I get a GM threat level between the 2 different areas?
I'll say you could like look at I'll say if you use your war room to just like weigh, I guess, these 2 leads that you have, you could go ahead and make an insight check.
Oh, yeah, it's me for the hard rolls. 17.
Hey, that's not that bad a roll.
No.
Looking at your intelligence on the areas, you get actually a pretty contrasting images, right? You got Johannesburg, South Africa, and Africa in general has, become like a breeding ground for bioterror testing and things like that. And Johannesburg in particular has a very bustling, like, not only local gangs but also a bustling black market around some of its outskirts. And so you expect to find there, and given that you're going there to look for a black market dealer who's supposed to be selling Ouroboros, you get the sense that you're going to be dealing with some pretty rough types there. We're talking, just like militia, paramilitary types, and all sorts of just ne'er-do-wells, criminals, things like that. Looking at the Tokyo, though, you look into this collector that Katara mentions. She also gives you a name, I suppose, in order for you to look into it. She would have to. She tells you that his name is Hiroki Oshiro, and he's quite well known in his circles. Not a very public figure, but again, in high society, a lot of rich and wealthy people.
The rich know each other.
Yeah, know him by reputation, and it's possible for rather wealthy people to get private audiences with his collection. But yeah, so looking into him, he seems to live in a mansion, secluded on the outskirts of Tokyo. But if you know these rich collector types, you would assume that he probably wouldn't be too willing to let some prized possession go, especially if he's supposed to be keeping his secret. So you imagine his collection. I mean, his entire collection is very well known in its circle, and very well cataloged, and very expensive. So he keeps his own house, his own compound, pretty secure where it's all stored. So that might require a bit more finesse if you were like looking to either negotiate with him or else try and steal it from him somehow, whatever approach you might take. But those are sort of the...
Say if you're looking for finesse.
Yeah, the images you get from those respective adventures, but you do get the sense that they're both plenty dangerous and come with plenty of risk, and you would definitely want all hands on deck for either one.
I run that by the team. Ask them what they think. I'm thinking Tokyo's an in-and-out job.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets one right off. I think even if Walker was going after South Africa, it's going to be a fight for him just as well as a fight for us.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be... There are a lot more variables in the Johannesburg one than the Tokyo one. The Tokyo one is fairly straightforward in terms of who we're dealing with.
Yeah, if we could find out he has it, they probably already know.
Especially if it's... Yeah, I think we should go for the Tokyo one first, since that is the clear target.
Yeah. At least we can save his life.
Yeah, so you guys are trying to fight.
You wanted to keep him alive.
Well, I mean, like, he's just a collector. He's not a dealer. He's not doing bad things. He just collects things. Who kills a collector? Oh, a mad titan.
All right.
I suggest Tokyo as well.
Okay, so you guys reach a unanimous decision on Tokyo. So yeah, you guys chart your flight, get your tickets, and start heading over in that direction. It's a long flight, of course, and requires a couple of layovers, and some stopping at a few ports along the way. Along the way, there are. You notice, Chauncey, you guys get your seats on the plane. Chauncey actually managed to get an aisle seat, and along the way you do notice a couple of individuals who are kind of, at least with your passive perception, who are just kind of seem to be a couple rows away, and they seem to look over at you and talk amongst themselves a little bit, and then kind of look back and forth at one point.
Do I feel uncomfortable about the way they're looking at me?
Make an insight check.
Nope.
They seem to be. They seem like they might be talking about you, but.
Where's Mr. G at on the plane?
Mr. G actually managed to get a window seat in about the row behind you.
I like a bird's eye view.
Do you have any kind of listening devices?
I actually do.
Would you?
I'll put in like some like headphones real quick, just like listening to a freaking MP3 player, and I'll face like this MP3 player towards their direction, and I'll try to listen into their conversation.
Okay.
Make
Make a perception check. I'll say with advantage, using your spy gadgets to your advantage.
I thought that was gonna be spy gadgets check, but I'm cool with advantage.
I'm cool with advantage too.
Said perception.
Yeah.
Oh,
18.
with that 20.
I know, right? Second time it's happened.
Yeah, you guys are getting some bobbling. So with an 18, you could on the fly you could hear pretty clearly the contents of their conversation. As soon as you start singling it out from the rest of the noise, you do hear them going just like, "Oh, pardon me, that wasn't part of it. That was just me burping." But
I think one of them definitely burped.
No, yeah, actually, they just had their in-flight meal. Yeah, it's just some cold turkey sandwiches. Anyway, they're going on about just like you hear them like they're keeping it hushed tones, but they're like, "Hey, you sure? I'm telling you, yeah, that's the guy. I mean, I'm telling you, I've seen him. You're acting like a weirdo. That's probably not anything." It's like, no, I'm pretty sure that's the same guy.
Do I know what they're referring to?
I mean,
do I hear in their conversation like who that guy is?
I mean, all you know is that Chauncey just asked you to spy on them, so.
But they don't say what they're referring to in terms of that guy. There's just. I mean, Chauncey is that guy, obviously, but
that guy all the time.
But they don't talk about any like event that they're referring to, or did I miss it?
It seems like you might have missed it if they were talking about it, because they seem to have some sort of shorthand going where they already established their subject by the time you started listening.
Yeah, man, they know you.
I lean up, stand up, and start walking down the aisle. Are they behind? They're behind me or ahead of me, right?
They're a little bit ahead of you.
As I'm walking up the aisle, I just put my hand on one of their shoulders and just be like, "I've seen you looking in my direction. Can I help you with something?"
And the one on the other side kind of giggles, and the one that's nearest the aisle is like, "Oh, sorry, sir. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. You just seemed really familiar to me. Have we met before?"
I don't know. What's your name?
My name's Joseph. I mean, I'm pretty sure this might sound crazy. Are you from Chicago?
Yes.
Oh, I'm telling you, that's the guy. Okay, so I mean, I'm from Chicago too, and I remember a few years back there was like this whole thing. There was that like. We that. Well, you're from Chicago. We got the crime family, the Felicianos. They were a big thing for a while, and then like a few years back, they just got taken down in some big bust. And I'm pretty sure like there was somebody who looked just like you. He had like the eye patch thing going too, on TV when I was watching the whole thing go down.
Yeah, kid, that's me.
Oh, no way. Are you with the like the BSAA or something?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's yeah. I told you. He goes on to the other guy. I told you, man. I told you that was the guy. He's just the other one's just like face palming and just embarrassed. And he's just like, oh man. I just want to say that is like the dopest thing that you helped take down the Felicianos. I mean. Just take it from me. I lived in Chicago most all of my life, and just like the crime was getting out of control in those years, and I just want to say it really means a lot. I mean, my grandma, she's up in a bad neighborhood, and it's conceivable that you might have even saved her life by the fact that you stopped them dead in their tracks right there. I mean, I'm sure there are other people involved, but yeah, I recognized you. That's amazing. You're like a hero.
Well, you can say that.
You can say that. Actually, do. Keep saying that.
I lost a lot going into that, and I'm glad that it paid off, I guess. But next time, just come ask me what my name is instead of staring at me.
Oh, yeah. Sorry
I really
about that.
feel
That's-
uncomfortable about that.
Yeah. I mean, what is your name?
It's Chauncey Clancy.
Can I? This might be a little bit strange, but can I shake your hand, Mr. Clancy?
Sure. I reach out. I put my hand out, I guess.
All right, he just shakes your hand. It's just like, oh man, that's quite a story. I mean, this is like getting to meet one of the first responders to 9/11 if you're for a New Yorker. I mean, yeah. Well, anyway, sorry to weird you out like that. I wasn't sure, I didn't want to come up to you and just be completely wrong. But that's
no problem.
got a bit of a distinct look about you.
Yeah. And I kind of like throw my hand up like almost like a half salute at him and just like, now have a good flight. I go back and sit down, but I kind of lean back to Mr. G and be like, you might just listen in a little bit. Like a little bit longer.
I'm gonna continue listening, and like when he comes back, I'm just gonna be like, "Did you hear that? You're dope." It's high praise for Chicagan.
Yeah.
So you're listening a bit longer after that with your listening devices? Yeah, so I'll say using your previous perception roll, you still managed to tune in pretty consistently. They just seem to banter a bit longer afterwards and just like go back and forth over it, and they're just one of the other ones just like completely trying to save face and act like they're not into it. Just like, come on, it's not that big of a deal, these things happen. It's like, nah, man, this is a story. I'm gonna tell everybody about this.
Yeah, that guy's never gonna wash his hand again.
That's gross. He probably didn't wash his hand prior. I start getting hand sanitizer out. Yeah, that didn't go. I was hoping we was having a plane fight. We were gonna skydive out this
bunch of Terrys.
I know exactly. I just got that. But yeah, the rest of the flight mostly goes uneventful. Actually, at one point, you as you guys are getting near to touchdown, it's near night by the time you do, and at least over in Japan, you guys are tired from all the travel, but you see the airport below you as the plane nears the runway. And that's actually going to be a good place to end for tonight. Like I said, this was good. This might have ended up being a bit of a shorter session, and I think it was a great deal shorter than our normal ones, even though we started early.
That was pretty short.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours.
Yeah, a 2-hour one. Hey, it's good to have one of those every once in a while. But, yeah, we'll pick up there as you guys touch down in Tokyo, Japan. Not next week, because we're not streaming next week, but when we return with the show. Yeah, so this is quite exciting. Thank you all very much for watching. I like that, since we streamed earlier,
Kaki's able to get in.
Yeah, slash, what's his username on Discord now? So it changed to something different again recently. But yeah.
Kaki is... I remember Kaki's...
I think it's Emmy or something like that. Anyway.
Emmy Conlanger was on... Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So...
Emmy Kaki.
There it is. But yeah, I like that. I like that they're able to watch, given the earlier date. But yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, that'll be it for tonight, and we'll roll into this next outing with the party when next we return, hopefully with the full party all together. So, that being said, thank you all very much for watching. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Until then, we'll see you guys later. Peace. Squared. Have a good night. God bless.
Good night, your dreams, all the good things.